Hi folks, welcome to RJA Impact. Today we're going to be talking about 10 of the most audacious frauds of all time. Please don't forget to like this video, click subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss out when future videos are published. The Baker Estate hoax. In the mid-1930s, 28 people set up the Baker Estate hoax. They claimed that a wealthy individual of Philadelphia named Jacob Baker recently passed away, leaving behind his estate open to anyone named Baker. The swindlers collected $3 million from 3,000 Bakers all across the US who had paid to stake their claims. However, Jacob Baker never existed. The rumours revolving around Jacob Baker have stuck around for the last 80 years. People today investigating their lineage are uncovering press articles published by the fraudsters and then follow this down the rabbit hole to find nothing there. William Cameron Smith, a Canadian, was regarded as the most prominent leader of the entire scheme. All 28 were accused of promoting the scam in 1936. Few of the scam artists served time in jail, and if they did, it was for a very short time. The thought is that the government wanted this over as soon as possible, since it caused so much news coverage in the USA, Canada and in Europe. The fake cancer fraudster. Annabelle Gibson is an Australian convicted scammer and pseudoscience advocate. She is the author of the Whole Pantry mobile app and its later companion cookbook. Throughout her career as a wellness guru, Gibson claimed that she had a diagnosis involving multiple cancer pathologies throughout her internal organs. She claimed that she had forgone modern science-based medical treatments. She claimed that she was effectively self-managing her multiple cancers through diet, exercise and alternative therapies. She claimed to have donated significant proportions of her income and her company's profits to numerous charities. Essentially, she was saying she self-cured her organ and brain cancers with the help of Ayurveda medicine, oxygen therapy, gluten and a sugar-free diet. She especially targeted young girls, asylum seekers, sick children and evoked sympathy in them for herself by narrating her fake story. She made up to $420,000 while executing her scam. She promised to donate the majority of the revenue she generated selling her cookbook, but in fact she spent at least $91,000 in 2 years on clothes, cosmetics and holidays. She only donated $10,000 to charity. When she was caught, she admitted that the entire diagnosis was made up. For misleading conduct, she was fined $410,000 and her total charges, including all fines, penalties and interests, amounted to $500,000. The Great Reality TV Swindle. The Great Reality TV Swindle was a con perpetrated in 2002 by Nick Russian, a British man who at the time was working in a branch of the UK book chain Waterstones. Russian placed advertisements in major publications that invited people to audition for a year-long reality television programme where they could potentially win a prize of £100,000. After receiving hundreds of responses, he auditioned some of them on Raven's 8 in London. He then selected 30 successful auditionees to take part without informing them that no actual programme had been commissioned. Telling them that the show would last for an entire year, Russian instructed the participants to leave their homes, quit their jobs and then meet him in London on the 10th of June. There they would be divided into teams of 10 and then set their challenge for the next 12 months. Some people also left their loved ones to participate. Their challenge was to make £1 million in a single year. Realising that they would essentially be making their own prize money, most contestants quit the show within 2 days. One group stayed together for slightly longer, sleeping on the floor of the cameraman's flat. They attempted to create their own TV show about themselves. Having given up his own flat and job, Russian was also homeless and was forced to stay with the contestants he had manipulated. After the programme failed, Russian went into hiding and was unable to be contacted. He was eventually tracked down by one of his victims to an address in Richmond-on-Thames, where he was forced to apologise on camera. As he had not taken any money from his victims, a criminal case against Russian was not pursued. A civil case was also not pursued due to the lack of funds. The Diamond Hoax of 1872. The diamond hoax of 1872 was a swindle in which a pair of prospectors sold a false American diamond deposit to prominent businessmen. It also triggered a brief diamond prospecting craze in the western United States. In 1871, veteran prospectors and cousins Philip Arnold and John Slack travelled to San Francisco. They reported a diamond mine and produced a bag full of diamonds. They stored the diamonds in the vault of the Bank of California. Prominent financiers convinced the reluctant Arnold and Slack to speak out about their find. The cousins offered to lead investigators to their field, and investors hired a mining engineer to examine the field. The cousins had planted diamonds on a remote location in northwest Colorado. They then led the investors west. Arriving by train in the town of Rawlins, they then continued on horseback. But Arnold and Slack wanted to keep the exact location a secret, so they led the group on a confusing 4-day journey through the countryside. The group finally reached a huge field with various gems on the ground that Tiffany's evaluated as being worth approximately $150,000. The investors convinced the cousins to sell their interest for $660,000, approximately $14.3 million in today's money. Geologist Clarence King, who had led a survey team that recently completed a geological exploration of the 40th parallel, had a chance meeting with Janin, a geologist and one of the investors, on a train. King and his team were alarmed at the reports of such a prominent diamond field which their survey had not noted. King sent geologist Samuel Franklin Emmons and cartographer A.D. Wilson ahead to investigate, with King joining them soon after. Upon locating the site, they quickly concluded that it had been salted. The fake bomb detector. The ADE 651 is a fake bomb detector produced by British company Advanced Tactical Security and Communications Limited, ATSC. Its manufacturer claimed it could detect bombs, guns, ammunitions and more from kilometres away. However, it was a scam and the device was little more than a dowsing rod. James McCormick, a former Merseyside police officer, sold the fake bomb detectors. He purchased novelty golf ball detectors for less than $20 and resold them for $5,000 each. McCormick sold more than 7,000 fake detectors and made more than $70 million from the total sales. Many soldiers, police, border guards and hotel security staff believed it to be working, and the devices were sold to the governments of multiple countries, including Georgia, Romania, Niger, Thailand and Saudi Arabia. Iraqi civilians have complained that the device seems to have an unnerving attraction to shampoo and soap suds. According to Iraqi police officer Jasmine Hussain, the vast majority of the people we stop, it's because of their perfume. A fellow officer, Hassan Uda, commented that most people now understand it's what gets them searched, so they don't use as much. McCormick of ATSC falsely claimed that the apparent responsiveness of the AD651 was due to fragrances containing traces of the explosive substance RDX. It's believed, sadly, that use of the fake device in some cases played a part in deaths and injuring people. Even when the entire scam was exposed, McCormick had no sense of guilt whatsoever and shamelessly said that his customers never complained about the product. McCormick was 57 when he was caught and imprisoned for 10 years. Religious theft. Howard Welsh and his girlfriend Lee Hope Thrasher conducted a religious scam by offering investors a combination of a tax avoidance entity and a high return investment program. Welsh, an Englishman, and Thrasher, an American, allegedly received $31 million from about 900 people who believed themselves to be bona fide investors in the so-called Living Your Soul Purpose entities. Welsh appealed to the religious in the name of faith and claimed that if they believed him, he would surely triple their deposits. They were found out after a bank grew suspicious in 2001 when it noticed a huge sum of money being transferred. After disappearing, the FBI had looked for them for over 2 years and had placed them on its most wanted list before they were arrested by Scotland Yard in late 2004. Sale of the Brooklyn Bridge. Construction of the Brooklyn Bridge ended in 1883. Just after that, a con man, George C. Parker, started selling it to the most gullible individuals by convincing them that once they bought the bridge, they could generate a fortune by charging tolls. He apparently sold the bridge twice a week for years, and even other con artists started copying him. This was not the first time Parker had sold something absurd. His fame also lies in selling General Grant's tomb by posing as his grandson. He apparently also sold the Statue of Liberty, Madison Square Garden, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He was convicted for his audacious crimes 3 times in his life, and for the last one, in 1908, he was sentenced to lifelong imprisonment. Some of the individuals who actually bought the Brooklyn Bridge actually went as far to erect a barrier and toll booths across the bridge. The non-existent Dale motor vehicle. Geraldine Elizabeth Liz Carmichael, born Jerry Dean Michael, was an American automobile executive. In 1961, she was arrested for counterfeiting US currency in Los Angeles. She jumped bail and went on the run in 1962. While on the run, Carmichael faked a serious car accident in an effort to shed her identity as Jerry Dean Michael. She changed her name to Liz Carmichael in the late 1960s. In 1973, still on the run, Carmichael was working in the United States Marketing Institute. There she met Dale Clift, who had invented a 3-wheeled car with low gas consumption. With Clift, she left the USMI to form the 20th Century Motor Car Corporation, whose goal was to market the unique low fuel consumption vehicle. The company's main product, the Dale car, was widely covered in the press, with its claim of 70 miles per gallon coming at the time of the Aral oil embargo. These assertions garnered $30 million in investments and $3 million in advance sales. For the sake of advertisement, Carmichael had assembled a team of designers to make something that appears like a car's body, attached 3 wheels and coated it with a shiny yellow colour. Following accusations of financial impropriety, investigations found that the manufacturing plants, production and research plans, the Dale car and everything was fictional. Carmichael was charged with 31 counts of grand theft, fraud and corporate security violations. She went into hiding and was featured in a 1989 episode of Unsolved Mysteries, which detailed the fraud behind the Dale, for which she was a wanted fugitive. Roughly 2 weeks after the episode aired, a viewer tip led police to Dale, Texas, where Carmichael was eventually found working under the alias Catherine Elizabeth Johnson at a flower shop. She was arrested, extradited to California, tried and sent to prison. Bizarrely, she served 18 months in a men's prison, despite having been recognised as a woman by the courts. Carmichael died of cancer in February 2004. The Best. Barry J. Minko is a former American businessman, pastor and convicted felon. While still in high school, he founded ZZ Best, pronounced Z-Best, which appeared to be an immensely successful carpet cleaning and restoration company. However, it was actually a front to attract investment for a massive Ponzi scheme. It collapsed in 1987, costing investors and lenders $100 million, one of the largest investment frauds ever perpetrated by a single person, as well as one of the largest accounting frauds in history. The scheme is often used as a case study of accounting fraud. To fund the company initially, Minko stole money from relatives and relied on credit card frauds. He took loans from big businesses and banks and started dealing with the cash in a Ponzi style. After an accusation of fraud in an article in the Los Angeles Times appeared, his banks cut off all sources of his loans and funds. Shortly after, his entire scam broke down. He had to resign as the CEO of the company and was imprisoned a year later on charges of fraud. This experience apparently wasn't enough for Minko though, because he was again arrested in 2011 for insider trading. The Nigerian print scam. In the infamous Nigerian print scam, the con artists intentionally sent grammatically poor emails and type filters to automatically select the most gullible recipients. The fraudsters generally posed as wealthy individuals who needed to safeguard their money and thus needed your assistance. The criminals asked the victims to give their bank details to transfer their money and promised to later give them a share from their massive wealth. Obviously, they only zeroed out the victims' bank balance. The scams have been experienced by people all around the globe, and these scammers select their identity based on the details of their victims, such as a US soldier, for Middle Eastern countries. While the scam originated in Nigeria, as of today most scammers are actually US citizens and only a small percentage Nigerians. With a separate video on this fraud and how to avoid it. You can search this channel with the words 419 fraud or Nigerian prince for more information. What links all of these? Fraud, of course. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss out on future releases.